Shalom, 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 shalom. As always, I want to give all the praises and the glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Bakar, Kodash. Yahweh is the Most High's name, which means He is or He is to be. Yahweh Shai is the Son's name, which means He's the deliverer. That's what the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ. As always, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, our elders who have been teaching this word and who taught us this word in truth and in spirit and sincerity. And salutations to my fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers out there that have been edified by the truth of the scriptures of who we are, the true children of Israel, the Hebrew Israelites, and who the other nations are. Shalom, shalom, shalom. As you can see, today's edification is called, and now they sin more and more with idols according to their own understanding. And now they sin more and more with idols according to their own understanding. Now this is especially the northern kingdom, which we refer to as the Hispanics, the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Latinos, known as the Native American Indian tribes of North, South America and Canada. More so them, more than any other of the 12 tribes, is the northern kingdom. And now they sin more and more with idols according to their own understanding. Now, I'm going to show you. For all that our people go through, they still turn to these idols, right? And I'm going to show you a perfect example of that. Listen to this news broadcast, and then you're going to see exactly why today's edification is called that.
Today marks 1 year since a deadly tornado devastated the town of Mayfield, Kentucky, causing many there to lose almost everything. I recently returned to that community and spoke to residents coming together to rebuild. 1 year ago today, the devastation stretched for miles, block after block of homes and businesses completely gone. Driving here on Broadway a year ago, one found just a scene of destruction and devastation. 1 year later, there is still so much rebuilding to do. So much remains empty. So many buildings were leveled. Take a look at how much downtown Mayfield has changed a year later. Only a handful of boarded buildings and destroyed structures remain. You live just about 1.5 miles from here.
Correct, yes.
1 year ago, we spoke with County Commissioner Tyler Goodman, surrounded by rubble.
There was a transmission shop on the corner.
We met again in the same spot, surrounded by empty lots.
There were office buildings, there was a restaurant, there were homes.
He says the last year has been about rebuilding and healing.
You can rebuild the buildings, you can rebuild the restaurants, the retail spaces, but you can't replace people.
The tornado killed at least 88 people across 5 states.
I get my picture. Invite it.
Here in Mayfield, a temporary memorial for the 24 killed in this county. A few blocks away, a tribute to the community's resiliency. The barn is back.
We're back.
The barn is the first and only restaurant to reopen in downtown Mayfield. The tornado turned it to rubble.
And I knew immediately we were going to rebuild. Really? That was not a question.
The Valero family also determined to rebuild their lives.
Now, this is the family I want you to focus on, right? You just needed to get the backstory that led us. I didn't just want to show you this video and go straight to the family. You needed to kind of get the backstory and how we got to this family. Now, this is a Hispanic family. This is Israelites from the northern kingdom. This is Ephraim, Manasseh. This is mainly the Ephraimites and the Manassites that we're looking at here. This is the northern kingdom of Israel, right? This is an Israelite family. Now listen to what they're going to say after they've gone through all of that destruction, that tornado that came a year ago, right? It flattened it. It flattened everything in Mayfield. Completely flattened it. I want you to look to see who these Israelites, this Mexican family, right? These are actually Issacharites. Sorry, it's lucky because these is some Mexican family. I want you to see who these Mexicans are turning to and giving thanks to for them to be being delivered out of this tornado and enable them to rebuild their house 1 year later with free labor. Free labor. It didn't cost them nothing to build their house. The people from the community and came and gave them the money to build their house again, right? I want to look to see who she's going to turn to and this family to give praises to. When I say today's edification is called, and now they sin more and more with idols according to their own understanding. So this is an Issacharite family, because these are Mexicans. So listen up carefully.
First met them last year after they survived by hiding inside their bathroom.
I was thinking that we weren't going to make it. God had his arms around us.
But they still can't escape the memory of that night. Does that tornado...
So the little girl said, God had his hands around her. She didn't think she was going to make it, right? She said, oh, God had his hands around them. That's why they were saying. That's what the little girl just said, right? Now let's watch carefully.
will hurt you?
Yes. When it rains or thunder, I get so nervous, so scared, and I start crying.
Everything inside their house was sucked up by the tornado. Everything but their statue of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe.
That's a miracle. She was there with us, taking care of us.
The community helped get the Valeros back on their feet. People donated food and money, and their new house built and furnished for them for free by a group called Homes and Hope.
I couldn't believe it. I started crying. There's still a lot of good people out there.
There are.
See?
I started. She was.
Look at the
The
idol.
tornado. Everything but their statue of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe.
That's a miracle. She was there with us, taking care of us.
The community helped get the Valeros back on their feet. People do.
He said the statue was there with them, taking care of them. You know how I see this? The only reason why the Lord allowed that statue to survive and the whole house was flattened was as if to say, to make a point to them. Is that what you treasured, your statue? I'm going to keep what you treasured. I'm not going to destroy or break what you treasure. She's giving thanks and praises to a statue, the Lady of Guadalupe. Listen to it again. It's mad. But that's how far gone our people are. That's how far gone they are.
Of Guadalupe.
That's a miracle.
Guadalupe sucked up by the tornado. Everything but their statue of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe.
Everything but their
tornado.
statue, right? Look at the house.
I start crying.
Everything inside their house was sucked up by the tornado.
Everything was sucked up by the tornado, right?
I start crying.
Everything.
That's the house a year ago, December 2021. You can see on the screen. So everything was destroyed in the house. The house was totally ripped to pieces, but their statue. Now, I see this as a message that the Lord is sending them, is that if that's what you truly value and you're worshiping, I'm going to save that for you, right? Because you obviously believe that that statue has some sort of power or say in what's going to happen to your family. So the Lord ripped the whole house, destroyed the whole house, but saves the statue, because that's what she was worshiping. That's what they worship. The Lady of, it's called the Lady, they call it the Lady of Guadalupe, all right? It's a Catholic title. It says they're also known as the Virgin of Guadalupe. Virgin de Guadalupe is a Catholic title of Mary, Mother of Jesus, associated with a series of 5 Marian apparitions, right? Which are believed to have occurred in December 1531, and venerated image on a cloak enshrined with the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico City. This is what they worship. This is what they are worshiping. The Lady of Guadalupe. This is what she's giving thanks to. This is why our people are destroyed. And this is why the Lord had to judge us. Because even today, so a year after this, the reporters come to visit them on December the 10th.
Nervous, so scared, and I start crying.
Everything inside their house was sucked up by the tornado. Everything but their statue of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe.
That's a miracle. She was there with us, taking care of us.
The community helped.
She believes that statue was what spared her life. Not Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, not the Lord spared her life. Didn't destroy the statue because that's what she worshipped the most. As if to say the message to her, I've destroyed your whole house with the part, but I'm going to keep that thing that you worship the most. That idolatrous statue. But like I said, and now they sin more and more with idols according to their own understanding. These are idols that our people are worshipping. She's a Mexican, that's Issachar. Idols according to her own understanding. She believes that played a part in saving her life. No, the Lord saved that statue to show you. To show you that that's what you truly believe, that's what you truly value. Well, I'm going to save that for you. But I'm going to destroy your house. Completely wiped it. So the house was rebuilt again for free by a set of people that works on projects build houses. But that's the destruction of our people. It's mad. Like she could literally sit down with that live on TV and say, oh, give thanks to that statue. Our people are destroyed. That's what they're worshipping. Who they think is Mary, the mother of Jesus. Right? I mean, they venerate Mary as well. They worship Mary as well. But idolatry is so rife in the Northern Kingdom. The Latinos, the Hispanics, the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans. Idolatry is rife amongst them. But they don't know their history. That's why the scripture says, it says here, the Hebrews, it's Hebrews 4 and 17. Come on. Hebrews 4 and 17. Hebrews 4 and 17, is it? No. I'm saying Hebrews 4 and 17. Sorry. Hosea 4. Hosea 4. That's why it says the Most High's controversy with Israel. It's a controversy. Them and their idolatry. Hosea 4 and 17. Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. Ephraim, which is the northern kingdom. Because I believe all of the kings, or the majority of the kings, correct me if I'm wrong, came out of the tribe of Ephraim. All right? What was his name? Jeroboam was from, I believe Jeroboam was from the tribe of Ephraim. But they joined on to idols. Completely joined on to idols. They just can't leave their idols alone. They can't leave their idols alone. Ephraim is joined unto idols. Let him alone. She's joined unto her idol. See? Ephraim is joined unto idols. Listen again.
Inside their house was sucked up by the tornado. Everything but their statue of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe.
That's a miracle. She was there with us, taking care of us.
The community helped get the Valeros back on their.
She was there with us, taking care of us, she said. A statue. I mean, that just sounds so crazy that anyone in their right mind, in their half a mind, could be sitting next to a statue and saying, yeah, this statue that survived the hurricane is what saved us. No, the Lord saved that statue because that's what you valued the most. That's what you believed in, your idolatry. Why he destroyed your house. Ephraim is joined unto idols. The scripture says, right? Leviticus 19, I believe. Idolatry forbidden. And the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the congregation of the children of Israel, and say unto them, ye shall be holy, because we are a holy people. For I, the Lord Yahweh, your power, am holy. This ain't your power, this friggin' statue. That's got no power. None. Zero. That's a molten image. Someone made that with their hands. They carved it with their hands in a what do you call it? In a studio somewhere. That's a molten image. The Bible says, ye shall be holy, for I, the Lord, your power, am holy. Ye shall fear every man his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am Yahweh, your power. Turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. I am Yahweh, your power. Turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourself molten gods. That's what she's done. After everything that she's been through. This is what she's done. I mean, are you kidding me? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Up by the tornado. Everything but their statue of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe.
That's a miracle. She was there with us, taking care of us.
The community helped get the Valeros back on their feet.
She was there with us, taking care of us. Turn ye not unto... I tell you, the Northern Kingdom, these Hispanics, these Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, these Latinos, boy, they are so entrenched in idolatry. That's why the Lord is going to kill so many of them. This is why I believe, and I keep on saying this, that the reason why there's an exodus of Latinos and Hispanics and Mexicans coming across the border into Babylon the Great is because the Lord is getting ready to deliver them to their destruction. And I truly believe that. They say that on December, I think next week, some think that Trump had in power about immigration is gonna, let me try to quickly find it. They said Trump's immigration order expires, right? Let's see if it comes up. He did an executive order to suspend immigration, and it's going to expire. It was hold on. Border crossing. Let's see if it comes up. Wait. That's it, Title 42. That's what it's called. Here, look. How to respond, all right? It says how to respond to an expected surge at the border, all right? This is what they're expecting. It says the Trump-era public health measure known as Title 42, which empowered U.S. border authorities to remove migrants without hearing their asylum claims, is expected to expire on December the 21st. It's exactly a week today, by the order of a federal judge who rightly found its utility in preventing COVID-19 spread has lapsed. The Biden administration is now bracing for a surge of unauthorized border crosses, many of them seeking asylum on top of the already historic levels. Now, I heard that since this this Title 42 was in place, they turned back 2.5 million. 2.5 million Latinos, Hispanics, and Mexicans from the southern border when it was in place. So when this Title 42 was in place, during that period of time, here it is, look, see, look at that. The prospect of a worsening crisis at the border is not theoretical. Homeland Security officials, already grappling with average daily apprehensions approaching 7,500, are braced for a sharp increase when Title 42 is lifted in less than 2 weeks, which estimates of 10,000 a day or more. It says that would push border enforcement to the breaking point after a year in which a record 2.5 million migrants were encountered. So that was in 1 year. There are 2.5 million migrants, and they was able to turn them back because of Title 42. But Title 42 expires on the 21st of December, as we just read. So I always believe this, and I continue to believe this to today. The reason why there's a surge at the border of Latinos, Hispanics, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans coming to the Americas is because the majority of them are going to be brought there for their destruction, for their judgment, because they are the greatest idol worshippers this planet has ever seen. Is the Northern Kingdom, are these Latinos, Hispanics, Mexicans, and Puerto Ricans. They are the greatest idol warrior worshippers. And it all goes back to the Bible. All goes back to, is it Jeroboam? Hold on. Is it Ahab? Ahab was another one. Ahab and Jeroboam, they were great idol worshippers. Yeah. I'm sure it was Ahab, First Kings. And Samaria, Jeroboam. Yeah, let me see if I can quickly find it. First Kings. Oh, I think it's First Kings. First Kings 16. Ahab and Jeroboam. Jeroboam was the first king of the Northern Kingdom, right? Let's see what it tells here. Into chats. Hold on. Just jump down here a bit. Yeah. Okay, let's just quickly start here. It says, in the 31st year of Asa, king of Judah, began Omri to reign over Israel. 12 years. 6 years reigned he in Tirzah, and he bought the hill Samaria of Shema for 2 talents of silver, and built on the hill, and called the name of the city which he built after the name of Shema, the owner of the hill, Samaria. But Omri wrought evil in the eyes of the Lord Yahweh, and did worse than all that were before him. For he walked in the way of Jeroboam. Jeroboam was the first king of the Northern Kingdom, all right? When Israel split into 2 after King Solomon died. Rehoboam, King Solomon's son, became the king of the Southern Kingdom, which was known as the Kingdom of Judah. And then Jeroboam became the king of the Northern Kingdom after Solomon died, which is known as the Kingdom of Israel. And that's when Israel split into 2 kingdoms and had 2 kings after King Solomon died. So it says here, for he walked, and Jeroboam was the first one to bring all this idolatry into Israel. All right? But he walked in the way of Jeroboam. Well, he wasn't the first one, because Solomon did it with his 3 wives. Solomon built houses of worship for his 3 favorite wives. One was an Edomite, one was an Ammonite, one was a Moabite. So Solomon had did it in the Southern Kingdom. But when Jeroboam did it, it became, remember, he got rid of all of the Levite priests. He kicked them out of the Northern Kingdom, because the Levites were part pushing for Rehoboam to be king over the 12 tribes, and they were more closer to the southern kingdom than they were to the northern kingdom, even though they were the priests for all of the 12 tribes. So Jeroboam had kicked out all of the priests, the Levite priests, out of the northern kingdom, and he set up his own priests and his own houses of worship, and it just continued with the kings that came after him in the northern kingdom. But he walked in the ways of Jeroboam, talking about Omari, right? The son of Nebat, and in his sin, wherewith he made Israel to sin, to provoke the Lord Yahweh of Israel to anger with their vanities. Now the rest of the acts of Omari which he did, and his might that he showed, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? So Omari slept with his fathers and buried in Samaria, and Ahab, his son, this was another one, just as bad as Jeroboam, this one, reigned in his stead. And the 38th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Ahab, the son of Omari, to reign over Israel. And Ahab, the son of Omari, reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. And Ahab, the son of Omari, did evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh above all that were before him. And it came to pass, as it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Zidonians, Africans, right? So he married an African and went and served Baal and worshipped him, and he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria. And Ahab made a grove, and Ahab did more to provoke the Lord Yahweh, the power of Israel, to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him. So he was worse than all of the kings of Israel when it came to idolatry. But this is the northern kingdom. They're deep, steep in idolatry. So when we see this, this goes all the way back to when they was in the land of Samaria. Believe me when I tell you, this goes all the way back to when they was them worshipping idols. All the way back to when they was in the land of Samaria. Just so you understand. And this is why the Lord had to rip them out of that land. And sent the king Shalmaneser, Shalmaneser the fifth of Assyria, to take them out of that land into captivity. This is why they were taken. Because they were deep. By the time we get to 2 Kings chapter 17, we get down to the king of Hosea. This is why the Lord took them into captivity. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Hala and in Harbor by the rivers of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes. For so it was, the children of Israel had sinned against Yahweh, their power, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the land of the Pharaohs, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen. That's what they did. They walked in the statutes of the heathens, worshipping idols, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel, which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord Yahweh, their power. And they built what? And they built them high places in all the cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree. And there they burnt incense, which is what they do today in those Catholic churches, and with those idols that they have in their houses. They have candles and incense burning with these idols. And they burnt incense in all these high places, as did the heathens, whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord Yahweh to anger. For they what? For they served idols. Wherefore the Lord Yahweh had said unto them, ye shall not do this thing. And that's what they did. So that's still with them up until today, just so you understand what's going on. This is why they're so deep, steep in idolatry. These Latinos, these Hispanics, these Mexicans, and these Puerto Ricans, they are knee deep in idolatry. Play this girl again for you. Knee deep. After all what she went through, this hurricane a year ago, completely destroyed her house. Completely destroyed her house. She's giving praises and thanks to a friggin' idol.
Like, I start crying.
Everything inside their house was sucked up by the tornado. Everything but their statue of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe.
That's a miracle. She was there with us, taking care of us.
The community helped get the Valeros back on their feet. People
She was there with us, taking
needed
care of
food
us.
and money. And their new house,
There with us, taking care of us. That's what she said. That's mad. That's mad that that's what she's turning to. But that's because who they are. It's still in them. This is why they worship so much idolatry over there. I want to go to Shalom to the Akiyams on the comment board. Shalom, Amawad Abad, beloved brother from GMS, who praises Shalom, brother, for those precepts as well. And I will get to them. I will get to them. So the Lord says here, turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. I am the Lord Yahweh, your power. Clear as day, right? I want to go to, is it Hebrews 13? Hosea. I keep saying Hebrews, is Hosea. Hosea 13. It says, Ephraim's idolatry. And that's what we see there. That's pure idolatry. But this is Issachar. These are Mexicans. But when it says Ephraim, Ephraim is talking about the northern kingdom, because the kings that came out of the northern kingdoms, I believe they was all from Ephraim. Some might have been from Manasseh. All right? But it says here, Ephraim's idolatry. When Ephraim spake trembling, he exalted himself in Israel. But when he offended in Baal, he died. And now they sin more and more, and have made them molten images of their silver and idols according to their own understanding. This is where today's edification comes from. Hosea chapter 13, verse 2. All of it the work of the craftsman. They say of them, let the men that sacrifice kiss the calves. So this is all of the works of the craftsman. All of it. This is what they do. But I want to jump down to the last verse here, right? Now, as you see, Samaria is the northern kingdom. This is where Ephraim comes from. This is where these Latin tribes come from. They're all from, literally from the northern kingdom. It says here, let me start here. It says the sorrows of a travailing woman shall come upon him. He is an unwise son. The northern kingdom, they're an unwise son. For he should not stay long in the place of the breaking forth of children. That's why they were rooted up out of the land. I will ransom them from the power of the grave. I will redeem them from death. O death, I will be thy plagues. O grave, I will be thy destruction. Repentance shall be hid from mine eyes. Because this is what they're looking at. They're talking about they're praying to the Lord. And you know they're definitely praying to white Jesus at the same time. I mean, that's the Lady of Guadalupe, right? Who represents Mary. It says here, though he be fruitful among his brethren, an east wind shall come. The wind of Yahweh shall come up from the wilderness, and his spring shall become dry, and his fountain shall be dried up. He shall spoil the treasures of all pleasant vessels, right? What took her house? A whirlwind took her house. Samaria, the northern kingdom, Latinos, Hispanics, Mexicans, and Puerto Ricans shall become desolate. And that's what happened to her. The king of Assyria took her. But remember, all of these curses that Moses said, that they will come upon you and they will follow you and overtake thee and follow you wherever you go. So Samaria had become desolate. The king of Assyria, as we saw here, come and took her out, all right? Took her out of the land of Israel. Israel's captivity. The king of Assyria came and throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. And in the 9th year of Hoshea, king of Assyria, took Samaria, the northern kingdom, and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Hala harbor and by the river Gozan in the cities of the Medes. That's what happened to the northern kingdom. So it says, Samaria shall become desolate, king of Assyria, for she has rebelled against her power. They shall fall by the sword. Their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women with child shall be ripped up. So this was what the Lord told Hosea, which is, this is going to happen to the northern kingdom. Now remember what we just read here, right? They were taken out by the king of Assyria. They never went back to the land of Israel, as you see down here, all right? The cities of Israel were filled with strangers, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and Kutar and Avar and Hamath and from Seraphim and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel, and they possessed Samaria that dwelt in those cities, right thereof. So the king of Assyria put his people in Samaria, in the northern kingdom, and replaced them, all right? So instead of the children of Israel, just like it's showing you here. So the Lord said they're going to fall by the sword, their infants shall be dashed to pieces, and their women with child shall be ripped up. Stay with me. I'm going to show you something. Stay with me, all right? So what did Moses say? Moses said this, all right? Moses said, because these are all part of the curses. I'm going to show you something. You want to know if this Bible is telling you the truth, prophecy? I'm going to show you something. Moses says this, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command you this day, then all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee, meaning follow you everywhere you go. All right? All of the curses in Deuteronomy 28 and everywhere else in the Bible, the Lord says will happen to you. So when the Lord said to prophet Hosea that Samaria shall become desolate, these are curses, for she has rebelled against her power, the Most High. They shall fall by the sword, their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women with child shall be ripped up. So, Christopher Columbus, here are the indigenous people. Christopher Columbus and his men, they said, could not annihilate, right? So this is telling you about Christopher Columbus, right? It says here, the Lucandas did not know it on October the 12th, 1492, that they did not know that their island in what would become the Bahamas had been spotted by Spanish explorers led by a Genoese man named Christopher Columbus. And they did not know that in less than 30 years, their islands would be empty from the coming genocide. So let's read an eyewitness account of what went down. Now it says here, it says, historians disagree on how D'Artagnan lived on Hispaniola, right? Which is what we know today as the Dominica Republic and Haiti, right? Or Cuba, I believe that is Hispaniola. At the time, right? With estimates ranging from 60,000 to 8 million Tanios and Arawak lived on the islands. The Lucanias were a branch of much larger Tanyo who were part of an Arawak language group, right? So it says here, it says historians disagree on how many Tanyos lived on the Hispaniola at the time, but they estimated between 60,000 and 8 million. But that's a massive, big discrepancy between 60,000 and 8 million. It's got to be closer to the 8 million mark, because you're not going to see 60,000 people and think they're 8 million. So it's got to be close to the 8 million mark that lived on the island of Hispaniola, right? It says one contemporaneous account from Bartolome de la Casa. If you can get this man's book, buy it and read it. He claimed, this guy was a priest, Bartolome de la Casas, right? Bartolome de las Casas, he was a priest. He claimed there were more than 3 million. More about Las Casas shortly, right? More than 3 million. This is what he claimed. So we're going to jump down to an eyewitness account. Hold on. Okay. All right. So it says here, Bartolome de las Casas arrived in Hispaniola in 1502 when he was 18. For decades, he participated in the mistreatment of the Tanyo and the introduction of enslaved Africans, which were Israelites, before renouncing it all. So he was all part of this murdering, rampaging, and killing that was going on for decades before he renounced it all, becoming a Dominican friar. So then he became a Dominican friar and confessing what he had witnessed in a short account of the destruction of the Indies. This is the book I'm telling you to get. It's by Bartolome de las Casas. It's called The Destruction of the Indies. It's an eyewitness account of what happened to the Native American Indians, but he's specifically talking about the Tanos in Hispaniola, all right? Those that were living in Cuba, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and those places, right? The Arawak Indians that lived in the West Indies. So this is an eyewitness account. Listen carefully. It says, it is worth quoting him at length. This is an excerpt, and it's very graphic. So this is an excerpt from his book, Destruction of the Indies, by Bartolome de las Casas. This is an eyewitness of what went on, right, in those islands. It says here, the Spanish explorers forced their way into native settlements, slaughtering everyone they found there, including small children, all right? Including small children. Sorry. All right? They hacked them to including small children, old men, pregnant women, and even women who had just given birth. This is who they were massacring, right? They were slaughtering. They hacked them to pieces. They hacked them to pieces, slicing open their bellies with their swords, as though they were so many sheep, herded into a pen. They even laid wagers on whether they could slice a man in two at a stroke, or cut an individual's head from his body, or disembowel him with a single blow of their axes. They grabbed the suckling infants, babies that are still sucking on their mum's breasts, by the feet, and ripping them from their mother's breasts. There you go. Dashed them headlong against the rocks. Others were laughing and joking all the while, threw them over their shoulders, shouting, "Wriggle, you little perisher." This is what the devil did. Columbus and his men, these Europeans, did when they came to the Americas. Now, what did Hosea say is going to happen to the children of Israel, all right? Moses said, the curses are going to follow thee. These curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee, which means follow you everywhere you go. What did Hosea say is going to happen to the children of Israel? In particularly the Northern Kingdom, which are what we know today as the Native American Indians of North, South America, and Canada. He said here, let me get it. I want to get this on 1 second. This is what we're going to do. Let's get this up so you can see it. Hosea. I'm going to go back to it. Hosea. I want to get this up on a big screen. This is what he said, right? This is what the prophet Hosea said. This is what the Lord told Hosea. Samaria, the Northern Kingdom, the Native American Indians of North, South America, and Canada, the Mexicans, Latinos, Hispanics. This is what he said. Samaria shall become desolate, which happened. They were taken away by the king of Assyria. We read that in 2 Kings chapter 17. For she has rebelled against her power, because pure idolatry they were doing, and they still do today. She rebelled against the Most High. They shall what? They shall fall by the sword, he said. He said, their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women with child shall be ripped up. This is what he said, right? They shall fall by the sword. Their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women with child shall be ripped up. What happened to the Native American Indians? Let's read it again. This is an excerpt from Bartolome de las Casas' book, an eyewitness. This was a friar, priest. He says, they, the Spanish explorers, Christopher Columbus and his crew, forced their way into the native settlements, slaughtering everyone they found there, including small children, old men, pregnant women, and even women who had what? Who had just given birth. What did they do? they hacked them to pieces, slicing open their bellies with swords as though there were so many sheep herded into a pen. What did Hosea say? Hosea said here, let me just bring this over here. He says, their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women shall what? With child, their pregnant women shall be ripped up. This is what Hosea said. This was going to happen to the northern kingdom. Moses said that these curses shall follow thee and overtake thee, come upon you and overtake you. These are part of the curses. Their women, their pregnant women, even their children who had given birth, they were hacked to pieces. Doing what? Slicing open their bellies with swords, their pregnant women, as though they were so many sheep herded into a pen. They what? They laid wages. Right? They even laid wages on whether they could slice a man in two or stroke or cut the individual's head from his body or disembowel him with single blows of their axes. There you go. They grabbed the suckling infants from the feet, by the feet, and ripping them from their mother's breasts, dashed them headlong against the rocks. What did Hosea said? Their infants shall be what? Shall be dashed in pieces. What happened to them? They grabbed the infants by the feet and ripping them from their mother's breasts and did what? Dashed them headlong against the rocks. He literally used the exact words of what the prophecy says. So even if we go into here, the Bibles, different Bibles, come on. Different Bible translations. Their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women with child ripped open. The New Living Testament. They will be killed by an invading army, Columbus, the Spaniards. Their little ones shall be dashed to death against the ground. Their pregnant women ripped open by swords. What did Bartholomew say? He said the Spanish, the invading army, forced their way into the native settlements, slaughtering everyone they found, including their small children, old men, pregnant women, and even women who had just given birth. They what? They hacked them to pieces, slicing open their bellies with their swords. What does Hosea say here? In all the translations, they will be killed by an invading army, their little ones dashed to death against the ground, their pregnant women ripped open by swords. The NIV, they will fall by the sword. Their little ones will be dashed to the ground, their pregnant women ripped open. ESV, they shall fall by the sword, their little ones shall be dashed in pieces, and their pregnant women ripped open. They're all saying the same thing that the King James is telling you. But in the exact same way that Bartholomew de las Casas wrote down, as if he was writing it directly from the Bible. Because it's Bible prophecy, what was going to happen to the northern kingdom. Their women that had given birth, their pregnant women, they were hacked to pieces. They sliced open their bellies with their swords, as though they sliced and opened their bellies with a sword, as though they were so many sheep herded together. They did what? They grabbed the infants by the feet, ripping them from their mother's breasts, dashed them headlong against the rocks. Others laughing and joking all the while, threw them over their shoulders, shouting, "Wriggle, you little perisher." This is what we're talking about. This is the devil we're telling you about. When we're telling you about these Edomites, that these are the wicked that the Bible speaks of, you better believe it. But he wrote this as if he wrote this directly from the Bible. But what he didn't know what he was writing was Bible prophecy. This was going to happen to our people. Why? Because of all the idolatry that they were doing, going back to the days of Shalmaneser, the King Hosea, when the Lord ripped them out of the land and put them into captivity. Goes all the way back. When Hosea was on the scene, he told them the same thing. The people of Samaria must bear their guilt because they have rebelled against their power, Yahweh. They will fall by the sword. Their little ones will be dashed to the ground. Their pregnant women ripped open. So when I see this, boy, this is why I said to you, it's like they haven't learned anything. But because they don't know who they are.
Inside their house was sucked up by the tornado. Everything but their statue of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe.
That's a miracle. She was there with us, taking care of us.
The community helped get the Valeros back on their...
And that's why that happened to her. And you're probably going to see another one here again. And this is why I believe, why I see all of these coming up to the Americas. These Latinos, I believe the majority of them are coming for a judgment. I truly, truly believe that. The majority of them is coming for a judgment because of their love for their idolatry, their idols. That's what I believe. The majority of them are coming, crossing the southern border for a judgment. Some for salvation, but I believe the majority for a judgment because of their love for their idols. But what happened to them, as I said, is Bible prophecy. When Bartolome de las Casas wrote this, after spending a couple of decades being a part of this, he repented, he became a friar, still part of the wicked, but he wrote it in detail what was happening to them by the Spanish so-called explorers, which was their enemies. But they had to bear their guilt, just like it says there, Samaria shall bear her guilt because she has rebelled against her power. They shall fall by the sword, their little ones shall be dashed in pieces, and their pregnant women shall be ripped open, as we have seen. That is the Northern Kingdom. The Native American Indian tribes of North, South America, and Canada today, who they call Latinos, Hispanics, Mexicans, and Puerto Ricans. But they are still doing the same thing today. And now they sin more and more with idols according to their own understanding. I'm going to finish it there. So lucky I didn't get to those precepts, brother Amawada Bud, but all praises. As always, it's good to see you keep putting up those precepts because it's all about an edification for our people to learn what's going on, to truly learn what's going on, you know, and that. So, as always, I want to give all the praises and the glory to Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai Ba'asham Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who have been leading this word in truth and in spirit and sincerity. And salutations to my fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers out there who are teaching this word diligently in the name of Yahweh, the Father, Bahasham in the name, Yahweh Shai, the Son, Rakah Kodash, the Holy Spirit. All praises and glory, family. As I always say, keep safe, keep praying and hold on to this truth because we are the true children of Israel. We are the Israelites. And this is the devil that you're dealing with. These Spaniards are Edomites, these Portuguese are Edomites, Italians, these are all Europeans, they're Edomites. Whether they're from Denmark, England, they're all Edomites. United Kingdom, France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Russia, they're all Edomites. And this is what these devils did when they came to the Americas. But it was prophesied in the Bible that these things were going to befall the children of Israel. You tell me these are not the children of Israel. Anyway, shalom, 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 family. All praises.